Hey everyone, Nubkeks here, bringing you my first video of BlizzCon coverage for Heroes of the Storm here in 2018. So I know most of you might expect or hope for, to jump straight into Orphea, who is the new hero. We'll jump into her though tomorrow. I want to see the Heroes Deep Dive panel first, where they go into more details on her, so stay tuned for that. In this one, we're going into the role rework. It was one of my predictions. I think a lot of people are predicting it and really happy to see it coming through. So instead of having 4 roles plus multi-class variant of warrior, support, assassin, and specialist, we are now going to have 6 roles: tank and bruiser, healer, support, melee assassin, and ranged assassin. So let's go through them and take a look at what these actually mean. All right, so first up we have the tanks. These guys are all extremely survivable. They typically have strong crowd control, strong ability to start off fights, and their damage output tends to be relatively low. So yeah, looking at the hero selection here, no major surprises, except perhaps for Blaze, who obviously Blizzard wanted to be a main tank type hero, started getting played as more of a bruiser type hero, which we'll come to in a second in the solo lane. They've been changing him in the balance patches, trying to bring him back to a main tank, and this obviously clarifies officially this is the role they want him to have. So yeah, those are the tanks. Next up we have the bruiser role, and this one is certainly a lot more interesting. Essentially with the bruiser role, what we're looking at is, again, frontline heroes, melee heroes typically, with very high survivability, but unlike their tank counterparts, they're essentially trading off either some survivability or crowd control for increased damage output. And these are also, typically speaking, the sorts of heroes that we're used to seeing as solo laners as well. Now, why I say this is interesting is because not only does this include some heroes such as, let's say, Artanis, Chen, or Rexxar, who were obviously warriors before, it also includes some melee assassins or slash specialists such as Thrall, Zul, Ragnaros, and Malthael. And for me, what this raises, this is the one question really, the one big question I have from this new role system, which is, are we going to see some hero rebalancing in the future to sort of homogenize these roles, the new roles, a little bit? So for example, will a relatively squishy hero in the bruiser category, let's say Ragnaros, see something of a survivability increase to bring him more in line? Will a hero like Rexxar, who's got pretty low damage, see a bit of a damage increase to bring him more in line? I'm kind of curious to exactly how much flexibility there's going to be in these roles, but I do like the idea of the bruiser role overall. Next up, we do have the healer role. And again, not too many major surprises here. It's fairly straightforward. These are the heroes that heal up your team. I guess in terms of a couple of heroes that are certainly interesting that stand out, obviously Tyrande moved in there with her last rework, making her that main healer. Kharazim is still in there as a main healer. He's not being put into any other role. The other standout one, I guess, is probably Uther, who could potentially have moved into, let's say, a bruiser role, doing something a little bit different perhaps, but they are keeping him as a healer, so we may see his healing output increase a little bit to bring him more in line. Who knows? Oh, at this point, I should also clarify that they are finally introducing the new quick match team composition rules, which mean that every quick match team will have 1 tank, 1 healer, 1 ranged assassin, and then 2 slots that will fill. Now, I'm not sure with the fills, if the fills could be like another healer, another tank, or if those roles are excluded and it's only bruiser, melee, or ranged assassin, or support. I don't know. That actually wasn't clear. But yeah, that's essentially what it's going to be. So bear that in mind when looking at these roles too, and what you're going to expect to see in your quick match games. Next up, we've got the support role. This one is a pretty big deal, actually. As you can see, just on a quick glance overview of this role, by far the fewest heroes of any class within this one. I mean, Tyrande obviously was a hero that could have easily been a support, same with Kharazim, but those have been moved over, now being classified as healers, so very few heroes in support. We've got Abathur, Lost Vikings, Medivh, Tassadar, and Zarya. I mean, all of them except the Lost Vikings, I get. Well, Vikings can self-shield, but the other ones could all shield other people apart from themselves, so shielding is a big deal here though. Minimal healing, let's say. Typically as well, these heroes have good utility, such as global soak, or ability to soak minions in a kind of a different or weird sort of way. We have things like Medivh, Portal, Tassadar, Force Wall, Zarya, Expulsion Zone. These are the kind of typical abilities you're going to see for support heroes. This also does confirm that Tassadar, some people have been very passionate about him becoming a ranged assassin. This does confirm that, however, he is going to stay basically as he is at the moment, as that type of supportive hero. And yeah, I would also expect, considering the amount of heroes within the role, that this would definitely be a role that could see more heroes added in the next year. The next role here is the melee assassin role. This one is quite interesting. Obviously, in comparison to the bruiser role, which is the big point of comparison here, these heroes tend to be much squishier but have much higher damage. But generally speaking, I guess what the melee assassin role really focuses on is those heroes that are looking to be opportunistic, that are looking to perhaps even flank and go in on a squishy member of the enemy team, get into their backline and disrupt them. I mean, okay, we've got Gazlo there, who really doesn't fit into that mold, but a fair few of them do. I don't know, it's kind of hard to classify things. You can't ever get a role system that's perfect. But yeah, let me know what you think about that one down below, because definitely the melee ones are where there's the most room for contention, I think. Then finally, we have the ranged assassin role, by far the biggest role. And I think that is fair, seeing as most teams, if you're going to run 2 of any given role, it is typically going to be the ranged assassin role. And there are quite a lot of playstyles mixed in there, from more sustained damage characters like Vala or Zul'jin to those really bursty mages like Jaina or Kel'Thas. As you can also see, we do have heroes like Sergeant Hammer and Zagara in the ranged assassin role. We've got heroes like Zul in the bruiser role, so on and so forth. The specialist role is gone. In my opinion, I think it's about time. When the game first came out, essentially the difference, I think, between assassins and specialists was assassins were there to do hero damage, specialists were there to do siege damage. Now, of course, as the game evolved, that became an obsolete way to differentiate the heroes. Specialists became weird heroes that don't fit within the role system, and I think we've reached the point now where the entire old role system was just obsolete, and we had entire heroes like Zarya that what's the difference between, Garrosh, Zarya, and Dahaka? They're all very different heroes, but they're all technically warriors. So yeah, the whole role system, lots of heroes didn't fit in anymore. I think that this new 6-role system does a much better job of including them though. That being said, I do have one suggestion to follow up on this. So I had my one question, which was, will we see some heroes be homogenized and kind of focused in on those roles and balanced around those roles to be competitive and interchangeable, let's say, within the draft, more so than they are at the moment, let's say? That's a question I have. The suggestion, though, is I would love to see a tag system go alongside the role system. Because at the end of the day, any role system is a great starting point. It's great for accessibility, for new players, for even, moderate time players. It's awesome to find more heroes similar to the ones that you love. But ultimately, the role system does tend to be a bit too simplistic when you are pushing for that higher level play. And I know that Blizzard is concerned and interested in improving the education of the player base. I think adding a role system on top of this would be a really great idea. So let's say, for example, looking at the ranged assassins. Sorry, tag system. I said a role system. Add another role system. Add roles within roles. 50 billion roles. It'll all be clear then. No, add tags. So let me give you a couple of examples. Take Phoenix versus Raynor, right? They're both ranged assassins, but they tend to function quite differently. So with Phoenix, for example, you could have tags such as, mobility, because he's got a teleport on his E. AoE damage, because he does AoE damage with, both of his heroics, technically. With his basic attacks that are in phase bomb mode, with his plasma cutter. I think it's called Plasma Cutter. With that thing, the Q, the spinny thing, that does AoE damage. You could put Wave Clear as a tag. Wave Clear, very important. And of course, looking at ranged assassins, many of them have very good Wave Clear, but then some of them have really bad Wave Clear as well. Then taking Raynor in comparison, you could have as his tags, single target damage. Self-healing, because he does some self-healing with his E ability. You could even add negative tags as well, showing some of the hero downsides. So with Raynor, mobility would be one of his downsides, because unlike many other heroes, he doesn't have a dash or a teleport or anything like that. He's just got to hoof it everywhere. I think a tag system would really add on top of this role system. But overall, I think this is great. I think it's a real good step in the right direction, and it's nice to see it in the game. Also does open up, interestingly enough, I guess this is a second suggestion, role queuing in ranked mode. By the way, preview of another video, they're going to combine Hero League and Team League into one ranked mode. Interesting. People suggest you could queue up as a role, like say, I want to play tank and to be put into a team and ranked as a tank. That, for me, may be a bit harsh. So, suggestion here from the Nubkeks. Add customizable stuff to your portrait or your border or something like that. So you go in and you could have a tank badge based off of, I don't know, your performances in past rank seasons as tanks. bam, I played mostly tanks. I've got this cool tank badge, slap it on my thing here. Oh, cool. That dude loves to play tanks. That's awesome. This guy over here's got the melee assassin badge. Great, let's get him on that Illidan. Hell yeah, we want him to play Illidan. This is awesome. Let's go. I think that'd be cool. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited about the role system? All the rest? Would you like to see a tag system? And I will see you all next time, very, very soon, for more BlizzCon news. Stay tuned over the next few days. See you all then. Bye-bye.